Hey everyone, in this Kadence Theme tutorial video, I'm going to be teaching you how to make an About the Author element that we will place above your sidebar on your blog posts on your website. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jake from startblogging101.com, and let's get right into it. So the first thing you're going to want to do for this is you're going to want to have Kadence Theme Pro installed, because this is a Kadence Theme Pro feature using hooked elements that we will use to hook the About the Author element into your sidebar. So once you get Kadence Theme Pro installed, which is a plugin, you're going to want to put the license key and your license email in here and hit activate. That way you'll have all the latest updates and everything that they push out. Even though the free Kadence theme gives you an About the Author piece that you can put underneath your blog post, like right here, it'll show the author and it'll show the bio. I thought it would be cool if on desktop here you had an About the Author element that showed right above your sidebar, and then that way it's just more visible on desktop for users right when they get to the post rather than seeing it at the very bottom of the post, because the post sometimes can be extremely long and a lot of people don't see that. So once you have Kadence Theme Pro installed, you're going to want to just turn on the hooked elements piece, and once you toggle that and refresh, you'll see an elements option under Kadence here under appearance. So click elements here, and to add a new element, we're going to click add new. And here you'll see a few different options for your element types. You'll see default, fixed, and code. For this one, we're going to use the default option. The default option allows you to build whatever element you want with either Gutenberg blocks, Kadence blocks, which is what I'm going to be using. So make sure that you have the free Kadence blocks plugin installed on your website, or you can use your page builder to build whatever you want here. So click default. We're just going to add a title. So for this, I'm just going to say Jake, author, bio, sidebar, element. Something like that. Just give it a descriptive name. And then here is where we're going to build our info box, which we're going to use for our About the Author element. So here you can just choose the info box from Kadence blocks. Otherwise, another neat trick is you can just do a / and type info, and info box will pop up here for Kadence blocks. So I'll choose that, and this is what it looks like right off the bat, just the default. And on the right side here, you'll see you have your settings, and it gives you a number of layout presets to choose from. So however you want your info box to look. For this one, I'm going to be choosing this center one in the top row. That gives it this look here. For the link, you're going to want to link to your About page. So this is just a test website that I have using the Kadence Starter Templates plugin. It's using the SAS layout here. So this is just what it looks like. So for the link here, you're going to want to choose your About page or wherever you want your About element to go to. Link content, I'm going to have entire box, which means that when the user can click the entire box and it'll go to the link. And we'll just leave this center aligned. For container settings, open this up. I'm going to take the border width down. I'll take this down to 2 pixels. And I'm going to actually take the border radius away and just turn that to 0. And what that will do is it'll take the rounded corners away here and just make it a full box. Now here's where you can choose your container border color. So for this, I'm going to make it a little more bold so that the About the Author element stands out on my page more. So I'm going to open this, and I'm going to link it. I'm going to globally link it to the Kadence Global Color Palette. If you don't have a color palette defined for your brand or your company, I do have an entire blog post that goes all over the Kadence Global Color Palette, so make sure to check that out on startblogging101.com. For this, I'm just going to choose this border color to make it a dark border. Now you'll notice that when you hover over here, it turns lighter, and that's because there is also a hover option. So click on this hover tab, and I'm just going to set it to the same color. Now you can have it change to whatever you want, but I'm going to just leave it like that so that when the user hovers over it, nothing's going to change with the border. The container padding at 20 pixels is fine for me. One thing you want to do, and you won't really be able to see this while you're building the element, but I'm going to add 30 pixels of bottom margin. And what that's going to do is that when this element shows up at the top of the sidebar here, it's going to add a little more, it's going to add 30 pixels of space to the bottom of it so that there's space between the element and the next item in your sidebar. The container max width here, this I'm going to make 300 pixels. Now the reason I do that is for all my websites, I have my sidebar at a fixed 300 pixels when it's showing. And the reason for that is 300 pixels really helps for any type of ads or affiliate networks. If you're placing any types of ads in your sidebar on your website, some affiliate networks and ad networks will have a policy that your ads need to be 300 pixels at all times. So with the Kadence theme, that is extremely easy to do in the free theme. I'm not gonna go over it here, but you can set your sidebar to just be a fixed 300 pixels. So for this container max width, setting it to 300 pixels is really nice because it gives the width right here and you can see exactly how it's gonna look in your sidebar. And then that way it won't ever get larger than 300 pixels. So after that, we are done with the container settings. So now I'm gonna open up the media settings. I'm gonna leave the media line at top. And instead of an icon here, I'm going to choose an image. Now when the image comes up, you can either upload an image directly or just choose from your media library. So if I go into media library, I don't have a picture of me right now. This is, like I said, this is just a sample website, but we'll go with this guy. We'll choose him. You can see this is a 200 by 200 pixel image, which is perfect. I'll select that. And here you can choose what size you want to load. So if you have like a really large image, you probably want to come in here and choose thumbnail because you're not going to use an image probably larger than 150 by 150. So I'm going to choose thumbnail here. The max image width is already 100 pixels, so it won't ever get larger than that thumbnail size. So that's perfect. You can add animation here if you want. I'm not going to. And then one thing here is the media padding has 20 pixels right now, and that's this gray circle around there. You can leave that and you could set it to whatever you want for your site colors. I'm just going to take that down to 0, and what that will do is it'll just get rid of that and leave just the nice avatar image. After that, we're done with all of the media settings. For title settings and text settings, there's not really too much to go over there. If this title's a little too big, so we'll come in here and I'm just gonna say about the author and say that that's too large or you want that to be a little smaller. You can come in here in the title and you can set it to a smaller heading. So you can make it an H4. So we'll just do that. And then for here, we'll just write your author bio, whatever you want to show up for the author that you're using for your element. So I'll just say, hi there, my name is Jake, and I'm the founder of Start Blogging 101. In my free time, I enjoy making blogging tutorials. Okay, so just something simple, some bio, whatever you want, like I said, for whatever author you're writing it for. I'll close the title settings, and now we're going to jump down into the Learn More settings. So if you click this Show Learn More, a button will appear at the bottom, and you can see that this button shows right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have the button take on the accent color that I have set in my global color palette. So I'm going to have the background look like that. I'm going to set the text color to this light color. Keep in mind again that there is now a hover element so that when you hover over here, it'll change colors. I'm going to choose the hover tab, and I'm going to actually have it be my second alt color for my hover. And so when you do that, it will turn this blue-purple color on hover, which looks great. You can set the border color or whatever you want if you want a border on there. I'm just going to add about 3 pixels for the Learn More border radius, and that will add just slightly rounded corners on the button here. And that's it for that piece. Now the latest Kadence Blocks update, this text will not actually be hard-coded in here as Learn More, so you can click in here and you can change this to whatever you want. So you could have this say, read more or learn more or whatever call to action you want for having people click on your element. Once that's done, I am finished with my element. So make sure that everything looks good. You could add a container shadow if you want. There's a number of settings in here that I didn't specifically go over, but this is looking really good. I like the look of this element, and I want to now get this placed above my sidebar on my website. So the next thing you want to do is go over to this next icon over, which is element settings. So when you click here, here is the hooked elements settings that I was talking about earlier. So under placement here in this drop down, these are all the hooks that you have available to hook this element into your website using Kadence Hooks. So for me, under content and sidebar, there is a before sidebar option. So I'm going to choose that, and what that's going to do is it's going to place it before everything in your sidebar. You can leave the priority at 10 and then open up display settings. So I want this to show only on blog posts. I don't want this to show on pages because I personally don't use a sidebar for pages. But obviously if you want it to show up on pages on your sidebar, you can do that as well. But for blog posts only, if you open up this show on drop down, you can scroll down and you can see under posts, there's a single post. So if you choose that, that is all blog posts. Now the thing is, I don't want this necessarily showing up on every single blog post because, well, for my website, I just have a single author. So you could have it show up on every blog post because every single page and post is going to be authored by you or you're one person. But if you have a multi-author website, this is extremely nice because now if you select post by, you can open this and there's a number of options. You can group them together, you can individually pick posts, or there was just this author option added. So if you choose author here, now I can go in and I can choose whatever author I want this to show for. So I'm going to choose myself. But the nice thing is that once I'm done with this, I can go and I can make an element for however many authors I have, and I can choose this author here, and it will show a different bio for every single author, which is really nice. So once I have that chosen, everything else is good here. I don't need to choose any user settings or device settings, but I mean, if you want to come in here and show it only on a certain device, say you only want this to show on desktop, which is probably not a bad idea because sidebars load after all the content in mobile and it just kind of looks weird. So you might want to have this only show on desktop, and expire settings, I don't need that. Once that's all done, all you have to do is hit the publish button. It will run some pre-published checks here. Hit the publish button again to confirm, and it'll say, hey, Jake author bio sidebar element is now live. So if I come in here now, and I'm just going to actually go to my blog page. Again, this is just the sample website that I was talking about before, the SaaS starter template from Kadence starter template plugin. There are 4 sample posts here. 3 of them, number 1, 2, and 4 are authored by me, Jake. So if I click in here, here you go. Here's our awesome about the author element that we just made. So as you can see, it shows right before the sidebar. And it, like I said, we added that space below, so it looks really nice to have this show up and have some space before the next element in there. And so if I just go back here, sample post number 3 is not authored by me. I gave it to a different author. So if I come in here, that element won't show in there, which is extremely nice. So now you can see that you can take whatever post you want and assign that element to whichever author. So now I could come in here, make a second author element for this author, and have a different bio show up depending on who authored the post. So that's about it for that. There are obviously a number of different use cases you could do for this. In fact, I set up something on here. So this is just a Lifter LMS tutorial demo that I was messing around with. You could make a little meet the teacher element. So in all of your lessons or courses on an LMS, you could have a little bio about yourself. Again, obviously this isn't me, but this is just the sample pictures that are involved with these starter templates. And you could have a little call to action here that shows up in your sidebar for any of your lessons or courses. And the nice thing is that here where I put this element together is your display settings. When you have an LMS activated on your website, you can come in here and there's a lot more than just posts and pages now. You can see that you can put it on single courses, you can put it on single lessons, you can put it on memberships. And so that's really, really powerful and extensible. You can take that and run with it and add any type of element that you want to your certain lessons or courses if you have an LMS or WooCommerce or even just a regular blog website. So that's all I had for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure to ring that bell. And I'll see you guys in the next video.